stars on my roof, look like space. Diamonds on my rollie face, shine like the roof. On my roof, she like the tats on my face. Tell the cool now, give me face. She a eater, say no grace. Ayy, people the reason. Favorite rappers get replaced. Uzi like pimple with poppy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie, and I got a special interview for you guys today. Today's show will probably be about, it's not even a show, it's just a short interview with Shane Dougherty, who just came off a victory this weekend at Cage Titans 41. And he's going to be calling in just a minute. But before we jump into that, guys, make sure you subscribe down below here on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you're watching right now. If you are watching on YouTube, head over to Spotify, iTunes, subscribe there. You can take us to the gym with you. You can take us to work, wherever you want to go. So we got Shane calling in a second. Sorry, I got a lot of distractions going on around me right now, which is pretty rude, but who knows? This is what happens during live streams. People just don't give a fuck. But Shane Dougherty is calling in right now, so let's get him in here. And we're going to get his take on what's next with him. We're going to get his take on his opponent, where he fought Murren. I personally scored every single fight, every single round for Dougherty. And there were a couple of interesting moments that I actually wrote down. Make sure to give him a follow on his Instagram page at xShaneDougherty. That's XShaneDougherty. And here's Shane right here. What's going on, Shane? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. What a crazy weekend it was for Cage Titans. I got to say, before we even start this interview, it's definitely one of my favorite promotions around, just really because the crowd, the energy, every fighter has its own personality. It's like, it's just full of characters. And I really, really love going to these events. And you guys put on one hell of a showing between you and Murren, man. So first, before we talk about anything, how did this fight come about? How did you guys get matched up?
Yeah, so after my last fight in June against Brett Layton, me and the team decided to go back up to 145. Just because I'm at school right now and making 135 while, going to class and everything, just didn't seem super realistic. So we said, okay, whatever, we'll go back up to 45. My first fight was at 45. So that's how it happened. And then I think Sean had tried to get on the August card, but his opponent pulled out or something like that. So they said, get us on the next card. We'll take on whoever. My coaches pretty much have the same attitude of we'll fight anyone whenever. And, Pulver took us both and said, this will be a fun fight. Let's do it. And
you were actually just saying that you're currently going to school right now, and I got your Instagram up for everybody watching the video cast right now. And what are you, a part of a fraternity? Rush Sigma Chi?
Yeah, I'm actually the vice president of my fraternity, wow. Sigma Chi.
Wow, man. And it's pretty funny. We're looking at a picture right now. Everyone's sitting there smoking cigars, except for you. So, like,
yeah, in training camp, I can't smoke cigars.
How does the people around you, your brothers, feel about you fighting? Do they come in support? Are they a huge help for your weight cutting? Because it's a tough thing, man, going through the weight cutting and being at school, going through classes, studying, and all that. It's got to be one hell of a battle for you just doing that alone.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. Like, I'll be and I'll go through one practice. I'll be there for a couple hours, and then I have to take like a half-hour break to wrap up some homework, and then I get back on the mats. So it's funny, but no, when it comes to the guys in my fraternity and all my friends, everyone's super supportive, especially when it comes to the weight cut and even my roommates. Like, it'll be a Tuesday night. I'll get back from practice and I'll be exhausted or whatever, and I'll get back to my room. Like, there's girls, people hanging out, so, but everyone, they know that when I'm in training camp that, things have to kind of change up a little bit, and they're super respectful of that, so I'm nothing but grateful.
And do you kind of see, like, over the years of you, being mixed martial arts, the self-discipline really come into play here? I mean, like you just said, there's girls, there's partying, people smoking cigars, who knows what's in them. I mean, you got to be pretty strong-minded to, do the right thing, so...
years of martial arts definitely teaches you that self-discipline, and more than anything, it's the drive to win. Thursday nights, I could go out, party, go crazy and stuff, but if I'm in camp, I have to remind myself that, when I'm partying, I'll always think to myself, like, is my opponent partying right now? You know what I mean? Is this going to affect the practice tomorrow. So you have to make those choices to be able to, put that aside, save it for the celebratory win, and in those weeks while you're getting ready for the fight to, stay level-headed and keep grinding.
So listen, man, let's jump into the fight here. I mean, well, the way your opponent came out, he came out pretty strong. I wrote down that he came out really heavy. How are you feeling in those first couple of minutes there in the first round? I mean, I personally scored every single round for you, but, your opponent was pretty tough, man. He came out swinging. So how are you feeling in those first moments?
100%. And we kind of knew that going into this fight. We kind of figured that, the first, minute or 2 minutes of the fight that he was going to come out really, hard. We saw, obviously in his first fight against Aaron Hughes, he knocked him out within under a minute or something like that. And then even in his fight against John Duma, he comes out really, looking for the knockout early. So we kind of knew that we were going to have to weather the early storm. The problem was, in weathering that early storm, I think he definitely hit me a few times that, definitely made it harder to weather the storm. But, I was able to keep my composure, and, ultimately, once that, early attack kind of wore off, I was able to kind of set the pace and then, start attacking myself.
And going into that second round, there was an amazing moment there where you actually knocked out his mouthpiece. What did you think in that moment there? Because when I was watching, I mean, how did that unravel, that moment there?
I never, have really been taunted in any of my fights. Even in, my kickboxing smokers, I never, no one ever really was, talking or anything like that. And I question marked him, and he, looked at me that didn't hurt, that was nothing. And I just was thinking to myself, no, there's no way that didn't hurt. So then, I was just so angry, I just threw a jab, and I saw the mouthpiece pop out. In my head, it was a moral victory. Yeah, that's what you get for taunting me.
And that's got to feel so good in those moments there, because when you're done with the fight or looking back, you just hope that one of the photographers caught that moment, and hopefully Iggy did. But when that actually happened, man, where were you going into the third round? Did you think you were up 2 rounds? What were you thinking? What was your corner thinking?
Well, in the corner after the first round, I spoke to my coaches, and we pretty much knew that I had won that round, even though that he was able to strike a lot and get good offense off in the beginning of the round. I ended on top. I ended with a deep rear naked choke, and if I only needed 5-7 more seconds, and I would have had that. Because when the ref, pulled me off for the end of the round, it was under his neck. So that was just unfortunate. But I ended that round on top, and then in the second round, I landed a good amount of head kicks. I think I, was able to take him down a couple times. So in the third round, I knew I was up 2 rounds.
And there was a moment, I think it was at the end of the second round, where you threw a kick and it literally just missed him. I mean, you had a lot of output in that fight. So going into that third round, where's your mindset at? I mean, did you feel like you had to be extra active in this round, or how are you feeling going into that third round?
Well, going into the third round, when I was on the stool, my coach, Matt Martin, he, really made sure to remind me, you're up 2 rounds. This kid's probably going to come out really hard and just try to put you away. And that's what happened in the beginning of the third round. He really came out. He pressed. But that time, unlike the first round, I really had it in my head. I was super prepared for it. So he wasn't really able to create much offense. And once I put him up against the fence, I was able to take him down. And then at that point, I kind of knew that I just needed to stay active and, try my best, look for the finish. But if it's not there, don't take any, crazy risks, because, I knew I was up all 3 rounds. So ultimately, I would have the fight.
So when you heard the decision get announced, did you agree with what the judges scored it for? Because, like I said, I scored every single round for you. What were you feeling there? Do you think the judges nailed it? Because the judging was a little weird this weekend.
Well, the judges for my fight, all 3 had it 37 for me. So, yeah, I do agree with what they had.
I think I do, too. I think that was the one fight that they actually nailed. So what are you thinking moving forward here? I mean, obviously, this was a great fight. And before we even talk about what's next, did you guys catch up after the fight? Because, they have the after party and whatnot, and everyone around here knows one another. So did you guys leave off on good terms?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Once we walked out of the cage, we both we're in the back, like, changing and stuff, and he was super cool. He came over, we were talking. I actually have a really awesome picture of us talking to each other, and we're both laughing. That picture means a lot to me because I think it really shows, like, what this sport's all about. We punch each other in the face, try to take each other out for as long as we can, but afterwards, it's all good.
So listen, man, before we even talk about what's next with you, were you able to catch any of the other fights? And if so, what were some of the fights that stood out to you?
The only fight I was able to watch when I was in the back, I don't really, love watching the fights when I'm in the back. It's kind of, distracting to me. I really like focusing on, my personal objective. But I watched 2 fights. I watched Randy's fight, which was super quick. And then I watched the girl fight. I'm not sure the girl names, but the one that must have won fight of the night.
The one that was earlier on in the night.
Yes, the one that was just an absolute brawl.
Yeah, that was Katsikis and what was the other girl's name? Katsikis and Perez. That was a great fight, and they got awarded. And speaking about awards, Randy Costa also got an award for his finish, man. I mean, this kid on the map right now. What would you like to see him do next? Because he's such a huge name over at Cage Titans. That division is a lot of fun. His opponent, Thorne, put on a great fight, but Costa, all around, man, he's got the it factor right now. I would like to see him against a wrestler, son. What would you like to see Randy do next?
Yeah, he's got some good wins under his belt right now. He's taking all these dudes out real quick, so just keep the good times rolling. That's really up to him and his team. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy watching his fighting. I love his style. So yeah, I mean, whoever they put in front of him, I'm sure it'll be a good fight.
And there's a lot of guys on this card that I was really interested in. Even if I haven't heard of them before, they definitely caught my eye, especially one of them named Stapleton. Do you know this kid? I mean, he's 19 years old maybe? He won via a calf slicer, going on to 2-0. He's got the look for he looks like the backpack kid almost. It looks like he's about to do the floss. Do you know him? Have you heard of him, Stapleton?
That was the dude with the cornrow type deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know him, but my coach had heard of him. I don't know if he rolled with him or something. But before the fight, he was like, "This kid's got really good jiu-jitsu." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I train at USMA. And at USMA, we really appreciate good jiu-jitsu. So for Matt Martin to say that, I knew he must have been pretty legit. And yeah, I mean, I think that win summed up his good jiu-jitsu.
I mean, a calf slicer. That was the first time I ever seen a calf slicer live at an event. Absolutely blown away by that. So listen, man, another fight that was supposed to go down was Jacobo. Unfortunately, his opponent didn't show up in Kenny Lewis. Were you updated on that situation? Did you know what was going on there?
No, I had no idea about that. I was hyped to hear that he was fighting. He was someone that, did really well. So I knew he was making his pro debut. I was looking forward to checking that out. But no, I just heard that, it wasn't going to happen. I'm not sure why.
It's got to be so frustrating, getting ready for the fight, going through the weight cuts, missing out on all the meals, watching people eat donuts in front of you, and then your opponent doesn't show up. I mean, how would you feel? Has that happened to you before? And how would you feel, the day of the weigh-ins, your opponent doesn't show up? How would you feel in that situation?
I have never had an opponent pull out and me not be able to find a replacement. My first fight, I had an opponent pull out. And I was supposed to fight a guy that was primarily jiu-jitsu, and then, I think with 2 weeks out, my opponent changed to Muay Thai guy. So, I didn't have to deal with the frustration of not fighting at all, but I had to, completely kind of change the mindset of, how I was going to handle that particular fight, just because of the change of styles. And, it changes things in camp. It can be, a little stressful to kind of, all of a sudden need to change things up. But, that's part of the sport. You have to adjust.
So before...
I'm more upset if I couldn't fight because, all the sacrifice of, being in camp all the time, dieting and all that stuff, and then not being able to get out, that I can only imagine.
So before we get to the end of this interview, man, I got to ask, I mean, like I said at the beginning here, Cage Fight is one of my favorite promotions. What keeps bringing you back to fight under this promotion? What's special to you that, makes you come back to Cage Titans?
A couple things. One, the man who runs the show, Mike Pulver, he is, the best guy to work with. He's so cool, wicked nice guy, super honest promoter. I know there's like a lot of shady promoters out there that, might, not always be looking out for the fighters, but that's not Mike at all. Mike is always looking out for the fighters, super, good guy to work with, and he runs a great show. Plus, fighting at Plymouth Memorial Hall, there's something so special about it. You feel like a gladiator.
I mean, the way that it's set up, too, the way that there's like an upper deck balcony, like I always say, it reminds me of like a Gangs of New York, just the energy level there. I think that's what makes it really special. And to get a win, man, and to get that feeling, it's got to be like nothing else. I mean, I've been to these other events, and they're great, but there's something about Cage Titans that's just like, it feels like family when you go there. It really does.
Definitely. It's a super homey feeling. Also, there's like a lot of history there for my team. Like, every person that I can think of, at least while I've been there, that has all fought, at Plymouth Memorial. I remember going to shows at Plymouth Memorial Hall when I was 14 to watch some of my teammates fight. And, thinking to myself, once I'm old enough, I can't wait to fight here. And, now I'm 20 years old. I've had 2 fights there. It's been super cool to see how all that, planned out.
Well, you're a young kid, man, and to go back to even younger, we're looking at some Instagram photos, like I said, and you got a little brother, you guys are dressed up as Batman. Is this something that you always want to do? Like Mac Miller says, put a cape on, run around, chase the bad guys? I mean, how long have you been wanting to do this?
When I was a little kid, my favorite show in the whole world is Power Rangers. I just love the idea of getting into the somebody. So, yeah, I mean, that's a great line by Mac Miller, and I totally know what it means.
I mean, it's like you're actually a real-life superhero now. It really is. And, what would you like to do moving forward here? What's the step? Do you think we're going to get back in there next couple of months? I think Cage Titans has another event, I think, in January.
Yeah, I know they have another event in January, but I got to talk to my coaches, figure out when the best time to make comeback is. I'd love to get in there, sooner than later, but I have to pick out the reality of it. And I know that, in terms of my school, I have to finish the semester pretty strong. Training camp took some of my time away from so I got to straighten that out. But, once all that's figured out, I'll talk to the coaches, talk to my family, and figure out when I can get back in there.
It's got to be reassuring now that you got the W. I mean, it seems like you have your plate full, and for people in this sport, you get a loss. Nothing like waking up motivated, inspired to, cut down the bushes of your obstacles in the way of reaching your actual dream. So, and you're right on that path, man. So how does your family feel about it?
I don't think anyone would love their son cage fighting. But my family knows that this is what I love, and my family's super supportive of me. So if this is, what I choose to my passion, they're obviously going to back me up.
Last but not least, man, did you catch Joe's fight at the end? I know you weren't able to catch much, and if you didn't, what were people saying around you about it?
I wasn't able to watch the fight. I know it was a draw, and from what I heard, it was pretty controversial. I heard a lot of people say that Joe should have had it, but I didn't really get to watch it, so I don't know. To be honest, I was surprised that, it was a draw. Draws happen so infrequently that, when there is one, in my opinion, it must have been like an absolute war, or just like not that neither one was really going for it. So I don't know.
And here we go, man. I always like to end the show after you guys fight. Like, how did you guys celebrate? Would you go out? Did you get something good to eat? What would you do afterwards?
Oh, so my celebrating, it's pretty crazy. So after the fight, the first thing I do, I have to go see the family. See all the friends, everyone that came out to support me. It was super cool. The only thing about fighting at Plymouth Memorial Hall is that there's not like a good area for everyone to meet, and I bring a lot of fans, so we all just end up in the lobby just causing havoc, and I feel so bad for the people that are trying to walk by, because so many people in such a small place. But then we all just went back to my house. I probably had 12 slices of pizza, and because I just went from not really eating a lot and cutting weight, my stomach is so small, and then I shoved down a bunch of carbs, always end up throwing up, but it's tradition, so it's okay.
You can finally have the cigar with the boys, right? With the brothers. All right, man. So this is what we like to do at this point in the interview. If you have any sponsors, shout outs, anything at all, anything that you want to bring up, anything I missed, the floor is all yours here.
Yeah, of course, man. First off, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. But for any shout outs, I'd love to shout out first my team, US MMA in Bellingham, Mass, led by the man, Tom Havers. Thank you so much for coaching me, Matt Martin, Maddie LaRose, Hillary Rose. Thanks for everything. And then lastly, my sponsors, Physical Therapy U, Minds Media, Halifax, Sheet Metal, Bridgemart, Deli and Convenience, and Sigma Chi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. We got to get you back on here. We wish you best of skill in the next fight that you have. We got to keep you you got to keep us posted, because I definitely had a blast watching you fight. I would love to see you move forward and keep knocking down this battle, man. So good luck at school and everything. So last but not least, man, have a great day.
Thanks, man. You too. And one more shout out to my sponsor, Landscape Solutions by Chris Bashir. I almost forgot them. That would have been bad.
Oh, and really quick, where can people find you on social media outside of Instagram?
Yeah, outside of Instagram, all my social media is the same. Shane Dougherty.
All right, I'll post all the links down below. Shane, thank you so much, man. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Have a good one.
There you guys go. Shane Dougherty getting his horns here on Pure Evil MMA. Make sure to give him a follow on Instagram at @XShaneDaugherty, like he said. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA. Guys, before I check out, I got to say this. Tonight we are doing a show, and I have a lot of guests. We got Johnny Cupcakes, who also fought on this card, Igdalia Medina calling in, and the Ultimate Fighter Season 27's Jay Cuccinello, who has an upcoming fight for bare knuckle boxing. And that's going down this week. He's in the States, flying over from the UK. So this is going to be a great show tonight. And I'm going to be reliving the Cage Titans Instagram story that we got on Instagram. I'm going to be doing all the narration and the live action fight companion that I recorded on the GoPro. That's going to be dropping tonight at 9 p.m. I'm going to get to work on it right now. It's always a blast. Check it out. Subscribe down below on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/PureEvilMMA. Subscribe on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Player FM. We're all over the place, guys. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA. White knuckles to the end. Behave yourselves.
She thought my cool was a ghost. Told that bitch no dish, no rain stars on my roof. Look like space, diamonds on my rolling face, shine like the roof. On my roof, she like the tats on my face. Told that cool now give me face. She a eater, say no grace. Ayy, came with a reason. Favorite rappers get replaced. Uzi like pepper with pop in your face. You will get sprayed in your face like mace. Keep a demon. He not from the human race. All my cars coming, I swear I like.